Hello and welcome to Arctic. This is the game between two of the best tag players. We got here Cybern, Tag Rock, the godfather of tag, as well as the entire Cyber Nation perhaps. Going first ground here on Forge Alliance Forever. Of course, Cybern is a little underpowered. He is taking an Uber Geek, relatively new tag player, but definitely one of the best. Really played well in the Emba Cup, then got a lot better and used to think he's not that good at settings, but I guess I was wrong. He's going with the UEF and we got some mech marines coming out. Looks like first to engineers. The Arctic really spread out. You got 4 equivalent spots. Very important is the middle. We got a bunch of PDs and a lot of mass if you can take control of it. And you can see here both ACUs after getting one factory running into the middle. So we're going to see a confrontation. And of course, this kind of confrontation, the UEF definitely has the advantage with extra 2,000 health. Here we got the mech marine with a scout moving in. He's going to try to intercept this engineer from Rock. You got a very similar thing on the other side. That's a very common build people do, is be aggressive and try to cut off the expansions. That really has a negative effect on the econ. Looks like this engineer from Rock is not going to be protected. Up on top we do see some scouts. It's going to be the first kill of the game here, coming up on minute 3. Rock just walks in. You can actually walk in directly into this base, kill off the PD. Minimal health damage, and first kill for this mech marine. Is also going to try to take out that mass extractor. Up on top we have a similar situation, except there is a mantis protecting engineer, so good work for Rock on top. Absolutely no rating against Uber Geek, and he's got these expanding NGs. That's going to turn into a little extra eco soon. Although perhaps when people are fighting over the middle, it's not going to be that important. So what Rock is doing here, he gets behind civilian buildings. The PDs, after shooting the civs for a while, stop firing. You can see this PD here still will be firing, and this PD should start firing at Uber Geek here. That's really nice work there from Rock. Rock picking up some little extra mass. It is a little dangerous for Rock. He's all alone with his ACU. As soon as these PDs stop firing, it looks like this PD decided to start firing at Rock again. We see this bug. He's shooting another unit behind. I gets behind some civs once again. Rock quite low on health. He's got to go. So a bit of a victory there for Uber Geek. He is going to get a lot of mass. Now we can see a big response here. Manti and Radar for Rock. And up on top, another Mantis here with 3 kills already. He's going to get 4. If you can see that Radar. And in terms of map control, Rock could have a big advantage, although on the bottom still problems getting mass extractors. Now Rock is still in the mix, actually stealing quite a bit of mass. Uber Geek, it's really inexcusable for Uber Geek not to move in and kill Rock there. He's just standing there doing something else, and Rock got to get out there. He's in really a lot of danger here. Minute 6. Neither player doing anything. But elsewhere, it looks like Rock is going to take both of these expansions. Definitely a large advantage in terms of number of units. You can see he's going with 7 land factories, still no air. You can see 6 land factories and an air factory for Uber Geek. He's making a whole bunch of interceptors, which is not really useful against a player with no air. And Rock definitely a number advantage with Manti. Manti faster, so you get locally. It looks like he has more units. Most of Uber Geek's units are in the middle, and he lost the chance to kill Rock. Rock here with 16 kills, most of them civs. And Uber Geek is going to clean up on a little bit of this mass, although those 2 large chunks of mass. Rock got quite a bit here, minute 7. You can see very dominating map control. Rock surrounding Uber Geek from both sides, so no chance to expand, although very hard to call who's got the better eco here. Minute 7. Rock has reclaimed nearly 4,000. Uber Geek at 3,000. So a bit of an advantage for Rock. Good work from Rock. And a very important engineer here from Rock is maybe in a little bit of danger. A few tanks moving in, although plenty of Manti to protect. Rock retreating back to the expansion, and this is a pretty large force from Rock. Although with such a weak ACU here, 6,000 health, maybe not the best time to attack. But there are some Arty in here putting pressure. And this could be trouble for Rock. He just lost all his Manti here against the tanks. The 1v1, those tanks have a little more health. This engineer needs to run for the hills. and it appears that Rock is going for the kill. He just moved in all the Manti. He's got a very well placed PD here with 3 kills. That he has moved all his support units from this bottom expansion, and so did Ubergeek. Just 1 tank here would be very valuable for Ubergeek. Now Rock with 17 kills. The PD is taken out by some arty from Ubergeek. Very large force here from Rock. It looks like Rock is thinking about moving up. This engineer is dancing in between 2 enemy forces. Also some engineers here. And this is a nice raiding party. Actually takes out a factory here from Rock. So Rock definitely a little more organized, and absolutely no fighting here on the bottom. Just a Rock engineer. There are also some Manti in back here, looking for any NGs that are lost. And this is pretty crazy. These Manti just running through a hole in between the entire army. 6 kills, 4 kills. These are hero units. 7 kills. Finally get killed. And Rock really has no respect here. Moves in, 8 kill Manti. Finally gonna get taken out. Ubergeek, total air domination. Finally an air factory, 2 air factories actually from Rock. Is gonna try to build a lot of interceptors. Total of 8 land factories, all T1 from Rock. Now Rock looks like he's getting anti-air turret here. He is wary of getting sniped, although no T2 air from Ubergeek. This is a massive force here from Rock. He's got to leave a few units here to protect the engineers. Also a lot of reclaim. Looks like a PD plan, but this will be big trouble for Ubergeek once he gets around. It looks like on the bottom absolutely no defense for Rock. He will be ran over, so we might see the map split vertically. Here at minute 10, pretty good action from these 2 players. A very high quality game, and we saw some crazy Manti from Rock, and we can see pretty big air spam. A couple of these factories are paused. No T2, actually 2 air factories. T2, I just missed that. T2 air factory from Ubergeek making gunships, and now the gunships are actually out there getting some kills against these Manti. Not too much flak there at all. A bit of a response here from Rock. He does have a lot of flak in his armies, but definitely a numbers advantage here for Ubergeek. And this is trouble. This is really inexcusable. Rock had total domination. Let a few tanks move in and do a lot of damage, and here's actually PD being constructed by Ubergeek. This could cause a lot of trouble. Cyber and RD notoriously bad at taking out PDs. You can see a few brave interceptors trying to take out a gunship for Rock, but here comes the Air Force from Ubergeek, one of the better air players in this game. Air Force micro is surprisingly tricky. We see quite a few T2 mask ejectors here, at least 2 from Ubergeek. Don't see any T2 mask ejectors. Actually, we do. 2. Looks like 2, and here we have a power storage getting taken out at Ubergeek's base, but both players have 2 T2 mask ejectors, so very similar in terms of eco. And this is trouble in Ubergeek's base. He should be using his units a little better here. These Manti are going to kill a lot of this power, and you need a lot of power to be able to produce T2 air. A couple of PDs here are going to get a lot of kills for Ubergeek, and real damage being caused by Tag Rock, although it's going to be a lot of reclaim for Ubergeek. And here we got another battle, very even numbers. Cybern on EEF. And these are not going to get any support anytime soon. And once again, great rating from some of these strikers by Ubergeek. You can see the plans here for Rock. Still no T2. He's just spamming T1. The ACU for Rock sitting next to a flak with 19 kills. And Rock should be eventually able to kill this force, although it looks like he's attacking a little early, and maybe a slightly better positioning there from Ubergeek and quite a bit of flak. And here come the gunships. Looks like the bottom will be lost too. Ubergeek up on top, we have a lonely engineer here, plus a nice force. And the ACU moving up on top, so Ubergeek has a really large force here with gunships and ground. And the 2 air forces look very similar in size, although it looks like Rock might actually have an advantage here. It will be interesting to see this fight. And up on top, Ubergeek can begin taking over map control. The middle is completely abandoned by both players. Rock being defensive with his ACU sitting in back at the main base. and Ubergeek might use that to his advantage. Game has slowed down a little bit. Still a gunship spam plus another T1 air factory for interceptors for Ubergeek. A couple dead and mass extractors. One thing to note, a lot of fighting happened on Ubergeek's side of the map. He can reclaim a lot of those dead units, and here's the air fight. There's a lot of flak here for Rock, so that's going to give him an advantage, and it looks like Rock is taking over air. His gunship's got to run. Very similar numbers, however, but a lot of this is purely tank here from a few already thrown in as well from EAF. Will be very hard to break that force with just T1 Manti. And also here, very even numbers, although the ACU for Ubergeek also has got the gun with 20 kills. So those Manti gotta really run. This is purely flak here. And map control is still very even, but shifting in Rock's favor. There is no PD here. More losses of mass extractors for Rock. Now the Rock that has air superiority, see if he can use that. He's still just spamming interceptors. Perhaps we'll see another battle here. A couple already get taken out, and Rock retreats. Some more raiding units here from Rock. He's got to get support. It's a bunch of gunships, 6 gunships, gonna get a lot of kills. And here comes the Air Force from Rock. They're gonna kill a lot of very valuable gunships here very quickly. And really no chance here for Ubergeek. Just a few Manti survive, did damage. And up on top, trouble for Rock. It's surprising that Rock has had this much trouble with this area. Of course, now we have the ACU here. He's going to establish a base. And bombers coming out for Rock. Yes, total air domination, might as well use them. Maybe some jesters would be nice from Rock. These are surviving Manti. It's going to be very even numbers here against these strikers. Still, Ubergeek hasn't switched to interceptors, still making gunships. This has been a very even battle here. We also see an engineer from Ubergeek. He's actually sitting on top of these mass extractors with a Tech 1 PD and a radar. It'll be very hard to knock him off that position. We do see T2 ground now from Rock, and it looks like he made a few flak. And bombers versus strikers here on the bottom. Rock really only has his main base. He is now beginning to take over the middle. We do see actually a hoplite here with 6 kills. I missed this one. Being followed by Stealth Field. This is a special unit here from Rock. And great raiding Manti here, taking out mass extractors. An engineer from Rock sitting next to Ubergeek's ACU. Ubergeek making anti-air turrets here. He does have to be wary of the total air domination from Rock. And Rock making a lot of T1 bombers. Looks like air spam is paused. And the T2 ground factory also paused. And just bombers attacking for Rock at this stage of the game, coming up on minute 20. Not clear what exactly is going on here. Rock with 9,000 reclaimed. He's got plus 900 power. Ubergeek plus 1,000, plus 11,000 reclaimed. It's a little more for Rock. And this is bombers. Actually, there were a few flaks here. Ubergeek trying to get another. It looks like these bombers have taken out the flak. We do see some interceptors moving in from Ubergeek. And this is a T1, T2 force with some stealth moving in up on top of this mountain. If Rock get a couple hoplites up on this hill, they can fire into Ubergeek's base. And here come the gunships from Ubergeek. They're going to try to shift the balance of power here, although they fly into a whole bunch of flak. Ubergeek's going to make some engineers. 23 kills in the ACU. Secret base there for Rock in the back. More bombers coming in. Rock really has to be worried about this position. And we're actually seeing Rock retreating. It looks like he's going to move down. This is going to be an inevitable fight. Ubergeek's got to fight now or retreat, otherwise he's going to be sandwiched. Middle completely belongs to Rock. We got some bombers here sitting in a corner. Let's see what that does. And a very strong T2 gunship. This is some interesting stuff. T2 gunship spam from Ubergeek still. Ubergeek split his army into two. Looks like he's going to try to sandwich these Manta. He should be able to win this battle, although it'll be with pretty heavy losses, I imagine. And a retreat. You see a couple T2 flags here from Rock, and Rock retreats, giving up this entire area to Ubergeek. You see bombers now taking out mass extractors. Bit of overkill. It looks like these will be taken out by interceptors. Although some gunships here, and Ubergeek, actually Rock takes his interceptors back. He could have got a couple free kills. And more raiding here from Rock. See if you can take out a couple of those mass extractors. Rock putting a few more units down on the bottom. You see the engineers from Ubergeek gonna get a lot of mass. Looking back at Rock's base, he's really spamming hoplites now, making some more bombers and interceptors, but it's really a hoplite spam at this point of the game. And now interceptors. We also see T2 ground with some flak from Ubergeek. He's going to try to take air back. But this is a pretty nice air force here from Ubergeek. Interceptors and gunships. And now a push from Ubergeek on the bottom. Very methodical game. Some bombers in support. And yeah, this is very even numbers, but perhaps an advantage for EAF. And Rock continues to retreat. And while that's happening, Rock is coming in from behind. As long as he avoids this PD, he'll be in good shape, but it looks like he isn't aware of that. That's going to be a lot of kills for Ubergeek on that PD. We see the Rock's Air Force moving in, try to get some recon. 7 kills already for that PD. Now hoplites. These will really turn the tide of battle. That's a lot of hoplites from Rock. It's going to be painful for Ubergeek on the bottom. One thing to note, Rock does have the middle controlled, although now we might see a challenge for it from Ubergeek. We see some T2 units, some shields. If Ubergeek loses this area, it's going to definitely be an advantage in terms of map control for Rock. See a couple of T2 mass extractors actually getting some mass storage around them, and a very strong T2 ground spam now from Ubergeek. Up on top, the secret base was found out. Engineers running away. A pretty strong push here from Ubergeek, although he's running after a whole bunch of hoplites, and these are at a really long range. This force here from Ubergeek is doomed, and now we see another assault from Rock. He's taken over the bottom. 8 kills for that PD, might get a lot more. Don't see too much flak here, or too many arty in this force, so that PD is going to be very difficult to kill. These hoplites should have a lot of kills. See some T2 units going down to try to support. And we are seeing cruise missiles. Looks like Ubergeek got the ACU missile launcher, and we do see dead mass extractors, at least 3 in Rock's base. He's trying to get TMD. Cyber TMD very good at this. And actually, single TMD wasn't able to take out. 4 mass extractors lost for Rock. It's a big eco hit. Actually, now Ubergeek going after this factory, T3 land factory. This will be a huge loss for Rock. He's desperately trying to get a second TMD now with 2 TMDs. That should be alright. But now, that did cost a lot of mass for Rock to repair this factory. And we are seeing Loyalists move it out into the field. Humbly took over the bottom, so T3 ground for Rock. It's a very big development here. We do see pillars from Ubergeek, and he definitely now has a better eco, although better eco versus T3 ground is not too much of an advantage. Although it might turn out that Rock doesn't really have the resources to make T3. He's basically rebuilding his T3 factory once again, and that's a lot of mass. Rock trying to get his mass extractors back. And a big push here from Ubergeek through the top. Ubergeek does have the gun, so it'll be really good against T3. And this is complete taken over by Rock, so Rock definitely has advantage in terms of map control. 2 bases plus the metal, and now this is a T3 force. We see 5 loyalists chasing down a bunch of T2 pillars under shields versus loyalists, and pillars are running back into the base. You see a lot of T1 here. And a good move here from Ubergeek, moving out on the sides. He's going to try to cause some havoc. And the nice raid here with T1. He's going to run into a loyalist. Loyalist is going to get a lot of kills for Rock. T2 raider here from Ubergeek. Really good raider coverage here, based on this side of the map. And this battle, Rock is retreating. He's going to try to save his base. There's still this massive hoplite force still alive. Will be a good defense. And T2 gunships here force these loyalists back right next to a massive air force from Rock. These are ballsy. That was an extremely good move with us. He forced these interceptors to fly directly into these flak, and every single interceptor that followed those gunships got taken out. Great move from Ubergeek. And now it looks like the middle is exposed for Rock. He's got the ACU to deal with, plus a T2 force. And these loyalists plus the hoplites here might join forces and move around the side. It looks like the middle is lost for Rock. Rock is counterattacking here with 3 loyalists on the left side, and that could be trouble for Ubergeek's expansion. Ubergeek now with 36 kills, loaded missile, and the gun. Looks like he's got T2 as well. 41 kills. That's a very strong ACU. And that is going to force, well, no, Rock is going up. It looks like he had second thoughts there. Interesting. And now we got 4 loyalists here on the left side, an exposed base for Ubergeek, and more cruise missiles flying for Ubergeek, taking out mass extractors. There are some T2 mass extractors here for Rock. A couple of these loyalists spread out, probably be good TMD defense. And Ubergeek, very big T2 force here with shields, support of his ACU, and directly in the middle of the map. So no map control advantage for Rock at this stage of the game. Rock has pulled a lot of his units back. Surprising he didn't send, well, actually not. These gunships from Ubergeek, definitely a force to be reckoned with. These loyalists, and Rock realizes this, are running back. It doesn't look like there's a pretty massive force here from Rock, but Ubergeek doesn't respect it, using his gunships pretty freely all over the map. This is bad for these loyalists. Here come the interceptors. Taking out those gunships for Rocks will be a very big accomplishment in this game. We might see an air fight here, and you can see the gunships running towards some T1 flak here, and this could be trouble. And these all don't have any fuel. That's tragic for Rock. They're just gonna get slaughtered. Although those gunships all died, you can see a lot of trail of dead gunships here from Ubergeek. Perhaps an air advantage here for Ubergeek. He should be able to take out all those interceptors. He got the advantage. Now we got T3 in the middle here, 50 kills for Ubergeek. T3 versus T2 in ACU. And this is a disadvantage for Cyber, and Rock's basically an engineer here working on a T3 factory. T2 here, hoplite with 8 kills. Might do some raiding. This T3 force still alive, quite a few loyalists. So we might see Ubergeek lose his expansion finally here. And yet another T2 raider from Ubergeek. Still a lot of dead mass extractors for Rock. It's really been a huge advantage for Ubergeek, this UEF cruise missile. See just T1 air, T3 ground, loyalist spam, and a couple air repair pads for Rock. Is going to refuel some of his planes, which are already dead, and a complete loss here versus T3 for Ubergeek. Might see perhaps T3 ground. This is T3 ground. We are going to see Percy's shields versus those loyalists. That's really the only way to go. And here I had a brave loyalist take on a little too much. T2 pillars take it out. Rock, or actually Ubergeek here, takes out Rock's expansion. This really has been no one's land the entire game. Ubergeek had it for a long time, but got taken out by Rock. See some loyalists moving into that area, and through the top a very large force of loyalists. This is really a pretty dangerous situation. Also some flak moving in, so using gunships isn't really an option anymore. We'll see. And this is a hoplite that just ran 16 kills directly into Ubergeek's base. No respect. And we might see a pretty massive battle here between these two players. We do see Percy's, a lot of pillars, a lot of shields. There's a pretty large group of loyalists and hoplites. And the longer Tag Rock waits here, the more powerful Ubergeek is going to become. Perhaps he just wants to take out a mass extractor and retreat. Very surprisingly, this force can actually run over Ubergeek's base. More TMD, T2 power here. 4 rocks. Looks like he stopped making loyalists. He's now just spamming air. He's got NGs all over the map. That's a pretty large force here. 4 loyalists with some flak. Ubergeek in the middle. This is ridiculous. A couple loyalists and engineers right next to Ubergeek's ACU, and here comes this battle. Looks like it was an attack from Ubergeek, which is a little surprising. And that was a pretty massive loss. You see a lot of dead pillars, although a couple of dead loyalists as well. Ubergeek is pretty safe back at his base. He's got some T1 PDs, got some Perseus here, T2 PDs. Quite a few T2 PDs. Looks like a retreat from Rock is going to save his force. He's going to really secure that top expansion. It looks like the bottom expansion is going to be his as well. And Ubergeek's ACU really does not want to attack these NGs. That's very strange. Massive air force from Ubergeek now. And not clear. It looks like just teching here. T3 mass extractors from Rock. So Rock really has taken the last few minutes to attack here in minute 34. He is retreating with his T3 force. Very powerful force. And on both sides, loyalists and flak. And in the middle, we just saw loyalists get taken out by Ubergeek's ACU. And finally, Ubergeek will take out those free 4 mass extractors. Rock shouldn't have never really had. So one thing to note about these players, really no respect for other players. They don't assume that the player is going to beat them. They throw units directly into their bases. They put engineers right next to ACUs. Guess you don't want to beat yourself, and this is going to be these 4 engineers marching to their death. They do not know there's a bunch of loyalists about to kill them. And definitely an air advantage here for Ubergeek. Ubergeek is being followed by a couple of Perseus here, although this force here should be able to overtake that force from Ubergeek. Perhaps that's what the Rock is planning. Give some confidence to that force and then take it out. Will be a few really nice chunks of mass. Ubergeek is still allowing 2 mass extractors to be alive, shooting more missile launchers. These are actually quite exposed here. And it looks like that missile launcher took out the T1 PD. And here the loyalists that just took out a bunch of engineers moving in through the back. Power storage would be a great target. A lot of shields and Perseus, and these loyalists are going to march into their death. Really no chance against those Percivals. And an interesting move here from Rock. He's abandoned his expansion. Still running away from those Perseus. And eventually Ubergeek should stop donating mass to Rock here. Rock has completely abandoned his base, so he must think this is a really strong Percy force. It's really just 2 Perseus and a whole bunch of shields. And now Brick moving into the middle here. 4 Rock is really going to make this force a lot stronger. So very friendly game here between these 2 players. We see a whole bunch of Janus bombers here from Ubergeek. That'll be interesting. Perhaps a snipe against Rock. Rock is standing in between 3 shields and making bricks, as well as T2 bombers as well. T2 air finally for Rock here. Coming up in minute 40. Rock has moved back into this expansion. Perhaps we'll see this fight and Rock should take it. And a wall being constructed by Rock. Now this could be trouble. We see multiple Perseus moving in for Ubergeek. His expansion might switch hands once again. Ubergeek in the middle. He's got the missile launcher. He may have T3 at this point, although it's hard to call by health. 73 kill veterancy. It looks like some bricks moving down. Perhaps Rock will try to save this expansion. Ubrigik has completely retreated. So these two players don't engage unless they think they're gonna win. See these Percys overkilling these engineers. Really no chance here for Rock. Ubrigik 78 kills. And now we finally see this battle. Bad micro here. The Percys lost their shields. And now we are seeing Percys versus loyalists. Percys are taking some of these loyalists with them, but it will be an eventual victory for Rock, and a few really juicy mass chunks here if somebody sends engineers. No engineers for either player in this area. It's just no man's land. I see T2 bombers here for Rock. Really don't see any too good of targets. Some T2 power here would be a good target, although we see 6 T2 power generators from Ubrigik. Will take a lot of bombing to cause trouble there. A new factory from Rock, and this force has a lot of flak. Looks like 3 Percys and a whole bunch of shields. We have a brick plus a stealth field. Trying to break those shields, that's really difficult. A whole bunch of walls being constructed here by Rock, and this force has really been around for a while here for Rock. Now moving in, totally controlled the top, although given up quite a few mass extractors. And a brick force with a stealth field here moving down. These engineers are gonna die. See some engineers from Rock moving in here very soon as well. And up on top, once again, Percys versus loyalists. These shields give a really big advantage to EAF. See loyalists dying, and Rock will retreat. One thing the hoplites do have is the range. Here, minute 41. You see a spider has been started for Rock. He's got T3 power, this will be a great target for bombing. And 3 T2 power. And this spider might really turn the game. We just see basically a Percy spam and Janus bomber spam. And a T3 power started, plus more TMD from Ubrigik. Very safe play here. We might see a spider versus Percys in this game. And you can see Ubrigik has got T3 PD in the middle of the map. This can be a very secure area, and he's also got a lot of Percys, 5 Percys in support. And up on top, there's some really juicy mass here. If somebody wants to, I would even probably put some NGs on a transport, drop them right there. You can pay for half that spider. Probably not quite half, but quite a bit of it. And Ubrigik now moving in. We might see a spider versus shields and Percys. And with this ACU, I don't know if there's a clear winner. I would not send a spider into this force. This is a very strong force here from Ubrigik. Bombers coming in now from Rock. Didn't bomb anything, just got killed in massive air force. Don't want to fly here though if you're Ubrigik, and he doesn't make that mistake. A lot of flak. And some sneaky bricks here with some stealth fields. They also have a couple T1 flags, but pretty vulnerable versus these bombers if Ubrigik chooses to use them, which he probably will. And in the middle, this is big trouble for Rock here in the middle. See this air force from Rock's got to be very careful. And here it is, bricks versus Janus bombers without flag support. Really a tragic situation. Very nice bombers here from EAF. 3 very nice chunks of mass for Ubrigik, trying to run away. Interceptors coming in for Rock, gonna try to save those bricks. And on the other side, pressure here from these loyalists still alive here, minute 45. Spider is completed for Rock. He's sending it to the side. He definitely doesn't want to go through the middle. He'll probably try to hide it. It does have stealth. move around and attack Ubergeek's base. That'd be a great move from Rock. I'm assuming that's what he does. And Rock here picking up a couple of those chunks of mass, taking over this base, T1 mass extractors, as well as another brick force. This is a very strong brick force here. You see 7 bricks. That's very powerful force. And these bricks actually survive, run away in time. And more pressure here from these loyalists. So lots of things happening all over the map. One thing to note, Ubergeek, very defensive. This is a very defensive spot, but it doesn't really threaten Rock too much. It would really take a very strong T3PD push. And now Rock actually making T2 arty here to try to put pressure on this area, and if those shields go down, it'll be a lot of very expensive. Yeah, it looks like the spider bot has been spotted by Ubergeek. He built a whole bunch of T1 PD in this area and actually retreated with his ACU. He's running back to base. Where's the spider? Spider is making his way around the map. Really no other way to make the T1 PD unless you think the spider's coming. And loyalists here waiting, putting pressure, and here we got bricks on the back door, and Ubergeek is in a little bit of trouble. Cybern is quite strong late game if Rock is the one playing with Cybern. Guess a fatty would be a good option here for Ubergeek to counter that spider. This is beginning to turn into trouble. We have these 5 Perseus from Ubergeek holding down the middle but not really giving too much advantage. Now we see Ubergeek reclaiming the wall. And actually those Perseus, given that spider's no longer here, could cause significant damage to this base, although of course the ACU, always dangerous versus T3 units. And here's the spider. A couple of Perseus trying to put pressure are going to be killed by the spider. Four kills for the spider, 4 big ones. And this is a lot of air force. That's one thing that Ubergeek's been making. He's been making a very massive air force. And his spider is going to be a little bit of trouble perhaps. Rock attempting to dodge. We do see T2 flag here, so those Janus bombers just got slaughtered. 13 kills, 2 kills. And yeah, that's a very big loss there for Ubergeek. This flak just cleaned up, and the spider did take some hits. And I just missed the ending. I just missed the ending of this game. I can't believe it. But I'm gonna try to guess. It looks like the Perseus did move in. Yes, the Perseus moved in and just killed the ACU. That's, we were just looking at that. The wall was taken down, and looks like Ubergeek just pulled off a great attack while Rock was microing a spider, trying to dodge those Janus bombers. That's what we were watching. He just moved the Perseus in and took out Rock. That's a very nice move from Ubergeek. I really thought he was going to lose. He really was dominated here by Rock in terms of map control. And another victory for EF. A great move from Ubergeek.